Well, hello everybody, it's History Bill, and I bet you recognize that building. That's right, I'm at the Hermitage here in Nashville, the home of President Andrew Jackson. Come on. Okay, when people think of the Hermitage, they normally think of the big house that's over there, and that is where President Jackson lived later in his life. But when he was younger, and still a very important person, he actually lived in this log cabin, although at that time it had 2 stories. When he moved into the big house, he took it apart and built 2 houses out of this log cabin, and they're here at the Hermitage. So it's hard to imagine that way back when, in 18... Sir, my name is History Bill, and I saw you just now, and you look very familiar to me. I've seen your face. I've seen a face that's very similar to yours on the $20 bill, and I was just wondering, you wouldn't happen to be General Andrew Jackson, would you?
Well, yes, I am.
Oh, and this is your home, the Hermitage.
This is my home, my farm.
Wow. Well, can you show me around a little bit?
Be glad to.
Great. President Andrew Jackson. Thank you. So yeah, a good part of your life was in this exact cabin.
This was home.
Now, of course, it was you and your wife Rachel, your lovely wife Rachel, who were with a good part of your life. Did y'all have any kids, or?
We didn't have any natural kids, but we had 2 adopted children.
2 adopted. Okay.
Andrew Jr. and there was a young Indian boy, a 2-year-old Indian boy, that down in Alabama during the Creek War. We found him on the battlefield, and his parents were killed, and no one would take care of him. So I took him and sent him back to Mrs. Jackson to care for, and we treated him just like our other child.
The Hermitage, when you talk about the Hermitage, you often think of the building or one of the houses. It's actually a big piece of property. This was your home. This was your farm.
Correct.
And I noticed that you've got some cotton growing here. Can we check it out?
Sure.
The main thing that you grew here that you sold was cotton.
That was our cash crop. That's what
Just
we depended on.
Just like this cotton.
There are many up and down years
Yeah.
farming, especially with the cotton. It was a very short growing season for cotton versus further south. And so you're really taking a gamble when you're growing cotton as your main crop.
Now, I've picked cotton before a little bit, and it's not easy work. Now, did you do all the cotton picking by hand, you and your family, or
No, sir. No, sir. We had field hands, slaves to do that.
Oh, okay. And how many slaves did you have in those days?
In the early days, around 9,
Uh-huh.
and now about 150.
Now, in your time, are there people in the United States who don't think it's right to have slaves, or is in this part of the country, is that accepted?
In this part of the country, it's economically necessary to run a plantation of this size for a profit. If you get into other parts of the country, say in New England, they have no use for having slaves because it's industrial.
Okay.
Not so rural. and so they don't necessarily believe in slaves.
Can I ask you about some other places here?
You may.
Come on. So General, when you built the house in 1819, 1820, did it look just like this, or has there been additions over the years?
No, it was what they called a federal style, without the columns and without the two wings.
Oh, so there were no columns at that time?
No, sir.
And now, if I had shown up here, and maybe in the early 1830s, would it just have been you and your whoever was your immediate family at that time? Did you ever have guests that would stay here? Or?
We would have guests almost continuously.
Oh.
As part of being a gentleman and having the status that I have, that's just part of life. You are expected to take care of all these people that come and visit.
People didn't pay and they didn't bring their own food or anything?
That is correct.
Wow. Kind of a burden of being a powerful and wealthy man, I suppose, in those times. But, well, can I see the front of the house?
You may.
Thank you. Wow. So when you became president, you didn't spend much time here?
No, sir.
Wow. So when you moved back here in 1837, you had been gone a long time. But how did you get the nickname Hickory?
It all goes back to the War of 1812. I led a bunch of troops from Natchez, Mississippi, back home here to Nashville. And I shared the exact same hardships they did.
Yeah.
Walked along, didn't ride my horse, very little to eat. And so they started saying that, Jackson's tough as hickory.
I just noticed something about the house. I knew there was something, but it's white on this side, and it's red on the other three sides. Is that a mistake?
No, it's very logical. A way to save money by having a beautiful front to your house. This is where the guests come in.
Okay.
But they aren't going to see the two sides of the rear.
Okay.
Why would I paint them?
Oh, okay. General Jackson, this has been really special. I appreciate it very much.
Quite welcome.
Wonderful to meet you. There's one question I've always wanted to ask you. I always wanted to ask General Jackson this question. General Jackson? General Jackson? General Jackson? Ma'am, I'm looking for General Jackson. Do you know where he is, General Jackson?
General Jackson?
General Jackson himself.
He's in the garden.
Oh, he's in the garden. Okay, I must have just lost him. Thank you. Thank you. General Jackson. General Jackson. General Jackson.